Hi, and welcome to this introduction video to yet another BookTube channel. My name is Andrew, and I'm a bookish priest. Bookish because I like to read, and I like to think and talk about the things that I read, and a priest because, well, I'm a priest of the Anglican Church of Canada. I serve here in Winnipeg, where I live, at Holy Trinity Anglican Church downtown. I went looking around online for some kind of guide, because I always do better with a plan, for things new booktubers ought to talk about when they're making their first videos. And so I've got about 7 questions that I'm going to answer in this video to help you get to know me a little bit better and know what you might expect from this channel going forward. Why this channel? I've been a listener and watcher of BookTube and Bookstagram and the Storygraph and BookTwitter for a number of years now, and I really enjoy the conversations that happen there. I like the book reviews. I like finding out what other people are reading and why they do and don't like what they read, what resonates with them, what doesn't. And so I thought that I might join in the channel. Fun and unique things that I can bring to BookTube. I think that BookTube is just fun. I think the conversations are fun. I think learning about what other people enjoy reading and why they read, how they read, is great. I think one of the things that I can bring is that some of my reading is not reading that I hear much about on BookTube. That might mean that it's a good corner, a good niche for me to talk about. It might also mean that there's nobody else on BookTube who wants to talk about it. But we'll find out. Nobody can say I didn't try. So, I'm excited about talking about what I read. So obviously, what do I read? I read lots of the same sorts of things that many booktubers read. I like genre fiction, I read lots of fantasy, I read a little bit of horror and thriller stuff, I like a cozy book once in a while, I like LGBTQIA themed books, I enjoy literary fiction, I like historical fiction, all sorts of neat stuff. I also read a lot of theology, and I'm using theology as broadly as possible here. So I mean biblical studies, homiletics, church history, liturgical study, congregational life, catechisms, you name it. I read it. Part of that broad reading of theology is for my life and work as a priest. It's important to doing what I do, continuing education, professional development, and always engaging in that ministry in better ways that are more responsive and more fitting for the people I serve. That's a big piece of it. But I also enjoy the discussions in theology. I enjoy learning for its own sake. I think that it's a useful and important and creative exercise, and I'm hopeful that there are some other folks in BookTube who want to come along on that trip, or who are already on that trip. I know that Christianity and the church and theology are not safe, happy places for everybody. I know that they are difficult spots for a lot of people for really good reasons. As a priest, that makes me very sad. So hopefully this channel can be a safe, inclusive space for everybody who wants to be here and is here in good faith, and for constructive, building up sorts of things. If the theology videos and the discussions about what I read in that world aren't good for you, I won't be sad if you pass them over and only want to talk about the fantasy books and the historical fiction and all of the other stuff. I'll be delighted to see you in the places that are good for you. I love reading because I think in chapters. I think that's about right. Among my friends and colleagues, there is a joke that if you have a question and you ask me, I'll probably have an answer, but it will never be short. I think in long form, I like to provide lots of background and explanation for what I'm thinking and why I'm thinking it. And I like to get really in depth in background when I tell stories. So I think books are a great way for me to engage with other people telling stories and sharing ideas, because a book gives the author all the space they want to share background, develop ideas, point to other and related ideas, share stories, develop characters, tease out the plot, do what they need to do to share the story or the idea in the way that seems best to them. I read a lot on Twitter, but I don't engage very often. I find it's frustrating because a tweet, 240 characters or less, even a thread of tweets, isn't enough space, and people respond filling in the blanks with their assumptions. And when their assumptions are wrong, you end up spending another whole thread of tweets trying to explain what you really meant, but by then the conversation's gone totally off the rails. I know it's a good medium for some people, it's just not for me. It's not the way my brain works. I usually read in my apartment, which I like very much. I live here with my husband and 2 cats, both of whom are named for monastic saints. One is Cuthbert and the other is Pachomius. We call him Comey for short. I usually read either on the Chesterfield or in one of the comfy chairs that we have. I'm fortunate that the apartment has lots of windows, and Winnipeg is one of the sunniest cities in North America, so the lighting is usually beautiful and very conducive to both reading and napping, which is another favorite activity of mine. I also read a lot in my office at the church. At the church, I'm usually reading when I'm planning something. I'm writing a sermon, planning a teaching day, planning liturgy, planning workshops, and all the other things that I do in my job. And at home, sometimes I'm doing those things too. Or I'm working on other projects like how to start a BookTube channel. Or I'm reading for fun, enjoyment, and creative inspiration. I find reading fiction is a great way to keep me thinking creatively and engaging with ideas and looking to how other people see the world, engaging with that empathy that we know is such an important part of reading. I read physical books, as you can see. I read ebooks and I read audiobooks. I like physical books, mostly when it's a book that I think I'm going to want to keep on my shelf, or if it's a book that I know I'm going to want to give to someone when I'm done with it. I use ebooks for books that I'm pretty sure I want to read once and be done with, or books that I don't think I have space to keep for any real period of time. And I love audiobooks because I'm a person who often has difficulty sitting still. My body likes to fidget. And so sometimes I want to spend a couple of hours reading, but I just can't sit still. And so an audiobook means that I can clean or bake or knit or do something while I read. And it satisfies both of those needs and doesn't leave me frustrated that I'm not doing what I think I should be doing. I think that's about it for introductory comments. At least that's all the questions that were on the prompts that I found. Thank you for being here and sitting through this video and getting to know me a little bit. I hope you're looking forward to what comes from this channel. I know I'm looking forward to giving this a try and finding out who's on the other side of that camera and that internet connection. If you want to know more about me, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, the Storygraph, I'm BookishPriest in all of those places. I also keep a blog at BookishPriest.com. A lot of the writing there is transcripts of sermons that I've preached and articles about theology and the life of the church, but I do also post book reviews and reflections on the reading that I do. The reflections are often sort of longer form theological thinking, but not always. Sometimes there's other stuff. So if you're interested in some sort of cross-pollination of platforms, that would be a great place to go. Or if you just prefer reading to listening sometimes, that website is there for you. I'm pretty sure there are links on my channel page on YouTube. It's a YouTube channel, so I feel like I have to say, please link, subscribe, hit the bell notification button so that you know when I do the next thing, which I hope won't be too long. I have an arc from NetGalley that I'm nearly finished and want to post some feedback about, so that's probably what'll come next. Either way, I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad you've watched. It's good to meet you, and I hope that if you have questions, comments, thoughts, ideas, please leave comments below. I would love to know who's watching and what you think. Until next time, I'm Andrew, I'm a bookish priest, and I hope all of your reading is a blessing. Bye!